Hindi or Urdu version is in description.
Imagine waking up in the same room every single day for 25 years. No sunlight, no phone, no TV, no food unless someone decided you deserved it. And the worst part, nobody in the world even knew you were missing. Can you imagine the loneliness and the helplessness? This is not a horror movie, this is a true story. And by the end, it will change the way you think about love, family, and the darkness people can hide behind closed doors. This is the life and nightmare of Blanche Monnier. Blanche Monnier was born on March 1st, 1849, in the beautiful city of Poitiers, France. Her family was among elite. Her father, Charles Monnet, was a former dean of the local faculty of letters and an influential figure in politics. Her mother, Louise, was elegant, well connected, and fiercely proud of her family's reputation. Now, Monnet's home was filled with expensive furniture, glittering chandeliers, and the sound of lively conversations from high society guests. Blanche's childhood was cushioned by wealth, silk dresses, and an education most young women of that time could only dream of. And Blanche herself, she was beautiful. The kind of beauty that people noticed when she entered a room. Her dark eyes, soft features, and graceful demeanor made her one of the most admired young women in the city. From the outside, her life was perfect. The family's honor comes before anything else, before friendship, before happiness, and before love. And in the eyes of Louise Monet, her daughter's marriage would be the crown jewel of that honor. The wrong match could tarnish everything, and that, in her mind, was a crime that could never be forgiven. By her mid-20s, Blanche had grown into a confident young woman with her own dreams. She was not naive about the world, but she believed in love. And when love finally found her, it wasn't the acceptable kind her mother had in mind. It was during this time that she met with Victor Fedit, a 38 years old lawyer. Victor was not wealthy, but he was intelligent, kind, and fiercely principled. He was also a Republican in a time when the Monets leaned towards royalist ideals, a political divide that mattered deeply in that era. When she looked at Victor, she didn't see his bank account or his political stance. She saw a man who listened to her, respected her, and made her feel alive. But Blanche knew her mother would never approve. Louise Monet wanted her daughter to marry into a family with wealth and status, a match that would elevate their name, not diminish it. So Blanche and Victor's relationship remained a secret. Stolen moments, exchanged letters, quiet walks far from prying eyes. Blanche imagined a future where they would marry, where their love would conquer her mother's disapproval, but she underestimated just how far her mother would go to stop her. She had no idea she was running out of time. In 1876, the inevitable happened. Louis found out the discovery was not met with mere scolding or threats. It was a scandal. Her daughter's choice of a lowly lawyer was a direct insult to Monet's name, and in her rigid, unforgiving worldview, there was only one solution. One day, without warning, Blanche's life changed forever. She was taken to a small upstairs room in a family home. The windows were sealed, the shutters closed, the heavy door shut behind her, and the lock clicked into place. At first, Blanche thought it was temporary, a cruel punishment meant to frighten her into obedience. She cried out for her mother, for her brother Marcel. She promised she would end this relationship, and days passed. No one came. The room began to smell of rotting and stale food. A thin mattress was her only comfort, and meals, when they came, were limited and often spoiled. The vibrant woman who had once dreamed of a happy life found herself staring at the same walls, the same shadows every single day. Weeks turned to months, months to years. Can you feel the weight of that? Her world shrank to the size of that room, and the outside world simply erased her from memory. The disappearance of Blanche Monnier was not a mystery anyone tried to solve. No missing person report was filed. No police investigation began. Her family told her friends and distant relatives that Blanche had gone away, perhaps to live in a different country. or to marry someone far from Poitiers. In a time without modern communication, such lies were easy to believe. Her friends assumed she had chosen a quiet married life. Even Victor, the man she loved, did not search for her. He died in 1885, never knowing that Blanche had been locked away against her will for nearly a decade already. Inside her prison, Blanche wasted away. She survived on scraps of bread and water. The mattress beneath her rotted. Insects crawled across the floor. The air was thick with the smell of decay. Meanwhile, her mother and brother attended social events, exchanged polite greetings with neighbors, and lived as though nothing was wrong. And do you know what is the most chilling part about it? It went on for 25 years. If you have made it this far, take a pause, like the video, and consider subscribing to the channel so that you won't miss out any content. On May 23, 1901, an anonymous letter arrived at Paris Attorney General's office. Its words were simple but horrifying. There is a woman being held captive in the home of Madame Monnier. She is starving, living in filth, and has been locked away for 25 years. The police at first were skeptical. The Monniers were an old, respected family. Such an accusation seemed absurd, but the few specific points of the letter sparked their curiosity. They went to the Monniers' home in Poitiers. Louis tried to block their entry, insisting it was all mistake, but the officers pressed forward, searching the house room by room. Everything appeared ordinary until they reached a room at the end of the corridor. Heavy chains sealed it shut. When the lock was broken and the door forced open, a wave of reek hit them, so foul that several officers gagged. Inside, in near total darkness, lay a skeletal figure. Her hair was matted, her skin clung to her bones, her wide eyes blinked against the sudden light. She was covered in dirt, crawling with lice. Rotten food and human waste littered the floor. It was Blanche Monnier. She had not seen the sun in 25 years, which is a quarter of a century. The discovery sent shockwaves through France. Newspapers called it the affair of sequestered woman, a story that seemed too cruel to be real. Blanche was rushed to the hospital. She weighed barely 25 kilograms or about 55 pounds. Her body was so frail that doctors feared she would not survive. Her mind, after so many years in isolation, never fully recovered. Louise Monnier was arrested immediately, but she died only 15 days later, never showing remorse. Her son Marcel stood trial but claimed he had been powerless to stop his mother. He was eventually released, and Blanche spent the rest of her life in a care facility where she died in 1913, 12 years after her rescue. The tragedy of Blanche Monnier is not just the cruelty she endured, it is the silence that allowed it to happen. For 25 years, no neighbor, no friend, no relative questioned her absence. Her own family maintained a mask of respectability while hiding an unthinkable crime behind the locked doors. Sometimes the most terrifying prisons are not built of steel and concrete. They are the ones inside our own homes, built by the people who are supposed to love us. And so, I leave you with this question. If that anonymous letter had never been sent, would Blanche have ever been found? If you like this video, then I would request you to check out our other videos as well. The link is in description.